the deflection. Los Fresnos comes back and wins. Now Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria.
Here's Warner. Here comes the head of the jam. Counted for two. Field. Adios! And the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game. Smack
To the left. That is gone.
Perez, that's my play, off the backboard, counted, and a win!
And a win. Brian Perez wins the game for the Santa Rosa Warriors, and they go.
What's going on, guys? Kevin Auer here, joined by Ruben Rodriguez on a Wednesday afternoon. Rudy Zamaripa Jr. here, back running the camera. We're in the second week of November, and that means high school football playoffs is off and running as we get set for the area round. We're here, as always, at Luke Furia Motors in Brownsville, Texas. Ruben, welcome aboard for another week.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited. We finally got through the bi-district round, area round next, and we already started hoop season, so that's on the itinerary, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, let's not forget that basketball season is also in full swing for both the girls and the boys. Last week we got our toes wet and covering a couple of tournaments down at the Chick-fil-A Classic. And the boys' basketball season also just getting underway late last week, early this week. So we're going to start with the football playoffs and what exactly went down last week in the bi-district round. So here are a couple of scores from the bi-district round. Psja North beating Harlingen South 56-26. La Villa 34, Freer 7, Mission Veterans 17, Medina Valley 14. CC Flower Bluff 28, McAllen Row 14, Port Lavaca Calhoun 56, La Grulla 14, Port Isabel 23, Carrizo Springs 8, Floresville 56, Sherryland 35, San Antonio Alamo Heights 53, Edcal Chelsea 7, Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial 28, Brownsville Veterans nothing, Los Fresnos 56, Mission High 14, Gregory Portland 54, Mac High 13, and Bernie Champion beating Mercedes 36-29. So of all those scores, a couple of games really stood out this last week in the bi-district round, and I think the two that stood out is one, Mercedes being the number 2 team in the Valley all year long, being the number 1 team in Class 5A and below. One and done in the first round. They lost to Bernie Champion. That's always that's a tough draw, especially for those 5As having to play teams out of the Valley. And then the second game is the Psja North Harlingen South game, which many had Harlingen South continuing their magical season. They took their first loss of the year at the hands of Psja North. And then the third game that stands out in the smaller schools, and Coach Tony V is here, in case we didn't let you know. Tony Villarreal is here joining us in just a little bit. But his Tarpons went out on the road and beat Carrizo Springs, that was once undefeated going into that bi-district matchup. So we're going to start with the Psja North Harlingen South game. Did you see that coming at all?
No, I expected, we knew Jack Lugo was going to come swinging out of the gates. We knew Psja North was going to come swinging out of the gates. I knew it was going to be a back-and-forth match. We had 2 great offenses, 2 great defenses going head-to-head by district round. Did not expect a complete takeover by Psja North. Like, coming into that game, into an away game in the bi-district round against Harlingen South, the team coming off a magical run, they're going to continue that drive. Just unbelievable. I was mind-blown seeing the score, and then the final score was just... That was crazy.
So I'm not surprised that Psja North won. I'm surprised in how they won, because I didn't see Psja North dominating, and I didn't see Harlingen South dominating. I said either one would win, but it would be close. But you know what Psja North did is they just came in, and they came into bogus, and they threw the first left hook. South came right back, scored, tied it. But I think the momentum changed when Palacios got that interception, and then Psja North wound up getting that onside kick, who shocked me and I think everyone in the stands. That's when that avalanche really just fell in favor of Psja North, and they used Jack Lugo, who went off for 292 yards and 6 touchdowns. I mean, those are video game numbers, and the kid's a senior. I've always talked about him. I called him Super Jack because he did a little – oh, by the way, he had a sack in that game as well. He did a little bit of everything for Psja North. He came off the edge. He carried the load for Psja North, and then they threw in that wrinkle with Isaac Gonzalez, who, by the way, should have eclipsed 5,000 career rushing yards, if I'm not mistaken. He was about 80 yards shy going into that bi-district matchup against Harlingen South. And then they have, Ale Aparicio, who got a little bit of snaps at quarterback. So there are just so many different weapons that Psja North utilized, and Harlingen South just didn't have an answer for that ground game. And in the second half, I had told myself, I said, if South can come out here and score quickly, they can get themselves back in this ball game. They did. They found themselves right in the end zone on their opening drive. The next drive, they force a fumble. They recover that fumble, and I thought that was the turning point if South was going to want to make a comeback. They didn't get it. They wound up having to punt the football away, and that was that. But really, from it was a game just dominated from the word go from Psja North, and that was a team. And we had talked about it before that everyone says, oh, we're hungry and we're determined, and last year COVID, this and that. But this team had that extra juice in them because last year, a team that was full of freshmen and sophomores, they went on the road and they beat a very sound veteran Hannah team. And then they go into the area round. They're ready to play San Antonio Taft. They get bit by the COVID bug. That's Psja North. Psja North gets bit by the COVID bug. They have to forfeit their game. So these guys are just excited to be back in the area round, and they're excited to play. But that was just a very, very impressive showing against a very good football team. When we saw what Harlingen South did all year, I thought Jeremiah Rivera struggled early, had a couple of drop passes, which is very uncharacteristic of him. Xander Cáceres started off a little shaky. It wasn't until later until they found their groove. But, not to take away anything from what Harlingen South did all year. They went undefeated. They won the district. For the first time since 2007, since Coach Cherry was there, they ran the table. So there's a lot to build on for that program, but the storyline is just what Jack Lugo did, and defensively what Psja North did. They shut down a very formidable offense.
Yeah, like I said, everyone. I think you and me aren't the only ones who are surprised how it ended. Say everyone, okay, Psja North, Harlingen South. Yeah, these teams are just going to come out swinging from the get-go. But just Jack Lugo to put up video game numbers, it was just dominating, just a dominating performance. Kudos going out to Psja North, the whole coaching staff there. It was just a great performance. Now they got the area round coming up.
Harlingen, that was a score on Saturday. Forgive me. They also beat Edinburgh High. That was a Saturday afternoon matchup. So the Cardinals are in the second round. Los Fresnos got a win, so 32-6A and 31-6A, splitting right down the middle. So onward to the area round. What exactly is coming up? We'll read that to you right here. Marine Military Academy is playing against Spring Legacy School of Sports Science. That's actually for the TCSAAL state championship. So Marine Military Academy has a shot for a state championship. By the way, forgive me, St. Joe played on Thursday, a game that I covered. They fell to Second Baptist 48-7. And let me just retrace my steps here. Luigi Cristiano wrapped up his senior season and his career in a St. Joe uniform. As far as football goes, he did pass Kai Money on the all-time single-season passing list with the 35 touchdowns. And they got that last touchdown in the final minutes of the game. So now Luigi Cristiano is the record holder for most touchdown passes in a single season and most yards. So he's right up there with Kai Money. So a shout-out to Luigi Cristiano and his career. We'll talk a little bit of hoops in a little bit when Coach Brian Molina comes on, and we'll talk a little bit about St. Joe basketball. But there was another thing that stood out for me this past week.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to the scheduling here. La Villa plays Ganindo at Corpus Christi Cabanas Field. That's a Thursday night. Harlingen and Laredo United South. That's a Friday night in Rio Grande City. Psja North and Eagle Pass. In 5A, Marble Falls and Mission Veterans. That game is at Heroes. PI against Geronimo Navarro. Los Fresnos against Northside Brennan. Edinburgh Vela will take on Taft. That's a Saturday game at 2. And then McCallum Memorial will play San Antonio Lanier at Cabanas Field. So those are the games we have up next in the area round. Of these 7 teams remaining in the RGV, 8 when you include MMA, which one stands out to you the most?
One game stands out to me is the Port Isabel Navarro game. There is some stipulation. If you look at the bracket, if Port Isabel wins, they'll probably have whoever wins that game has the potential date with Sinton after that one because they're put in the same bracket. Another game that stands out to me, Harlingen High versus Laredo United. Okay, you got the win over Edinburgh. Now you got to keep on moving into the area round, try to power your way back through. You didn't have the season you planned to have. Admitting that many losses, but Harlingen's still a tough team, and I know they can try to take this one deep.
Well, they already beat United South 35-10 in the season opener, so there's definitely some confidence there. And shout out to Manny Gomez and his staff for just really weathering that storm. They lose that tough double OT game to Los Fresnos, and they wound up taking care of their business when they needed to. So we're going to go ahead and step aside, take a break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Tony V, and we're going to talk some Tarpon football. On the other side of the break, you're watching Real Sports Live.
37 North Sam Houston in San Benito is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets. Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere that makes for the fun trip when stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
We're the Life for Cheerleaders and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Aquí, en la Universidad de Texas A&M Kingsville, somos una familia. Nosotros nos apoyamos. Trabajamos juntos. Crecemos juntos. Triunfamos juntos. Nos inspiramos los unos a los otros para convertirnos en las grandes mentes del futuro. Estamos aquí para asegurarnos que tú triunfes. Aplica hoy para empezar. Es tu momento.
Hi, I'm Rodo Rodriguez and I'm a partner with New York Life Insurance Company. For 170 years, New York Life has built a reputation for building some of the finest agents in the industry. I help to manage that process from day one. If you're looking to challenge yourself and build an insurance and financial service business, then I would like to show you how I can help.
We are the Harlingen Cardinals and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Whether you're visiting or vacationing at South Padre Island, be sure to book your place to stay with Island Services. Locally owned for over 40 years. Trusted, reliable for condo and beach house rentals. Call and visit the website today. Island Services.
We are La Villa and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito. This game is brought to you in part by the Concession Stand in Santa Rosa, a locally owned business providing a terrific atmosphere before or after the games and supporting athletes of all ages. When you're in Santa Rosa, be sure to stop by the Concession Stand and choose from the wide assortment of goodies. An advertising partner with Rio Sports Live is the Concession Stand.
And welcome back. We're joined by Tony Villarreal, head coach of the Port Isabel Tarpons. Coach, what's going on? Glad to have you. You made it.
Yeah, I want to apologize to you and to everybody. I know you invited me last time, but in Port Isabel, all the small A's, the 4A's, we got to go coach junior high. And so 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're coaching junior high football. So we were trying to instill our programming. So I apologize for kind of not missing the first time.
That's okay, but you're here now. That's what counts. And you're here at a very good time because only 7 teams, 7 coaches can say they're still playing football. You're one of them. You're back at Port Isabel, and, it was your second time back since the 90s.
Sure.
First, let's just take a step back, and what was it like going back to PI and being back in that community?
Well, it's a special time because all the ex-players and parents that were there now, my students are now parents. Mm-hmm. And so now I have their kids coming through the deal. So it's anywhere I go through, and I go to any restaurant or, through the high school or whatever, I see a lot of familiar faces. And so it's a special place that takes athletics very, very serious.
When you came back, this team was, they were in the middle of the pack. They were still in and out of the playoffs. But you came back and you instilled that slot team, something that everyone knows that's what you run.
Yes, sir.
And when your time in Westlaco, and then obviously your time back at PI. So, for coaches that don't understand, just how long does it take for kids to understand that system, and what makes the wrinkles so difficult to understand?
Well, I think it's the way you teach. I think we got some master teachers in our coaches. I'll talk a little bit about my offense coordinator, Juan Torres. I think he's probably a head coach in the making. Mm-hmm. You've got John Mark Calvillo, who also had at Westlaco. Those guys are head coaches. So I think you have to have some master teachers, but it's not as difficult for us because we have a system in the way we teach, and the thing that made it difficult this year, we were on virtual learning, so consequently we didn't get a chance to teach in the off season. We didn't see all the kids, and during the summer they didn't do strength and conditioning, so we were allowed to kind of coach a little bit last year for about 2 to 3 weeks. So we used that as kind of like a spring training. Mm-hmm. We implemented, we installed, and then some of our kids came back and still remember the recall.
When you come back, I'm sure you probably got all the questions or the welcome backs, and when you go to the coffee shops, do people ever ask for those war stories?
They always do. The first thing my old players tell me is that, Coach, whatever you do with this new team, you make sure you run them like you used to run us. So they always tell. That's a common thread with all our ex parents and stuff. So yeah, they're hopeful that we can do some similar things for next year, like we did back in the day.
Yeah, there's a lot of history, and every time I go to PI, I always stop and see that
the billboard,
the billboard that you guys have up there. Is just
it's funny you say that, because today we're gonna do a ceremonial putting your year on the billboard.
Okay.
So we do, like, after practice, we're gonna paint your year number next to the bi-district championship. So we're gonna and we're doing it, and then we're doing a mock presentation with a trophy. That's not really the trophy, but it's a bi-district champion, and everybody will be there, the parents, but we're also going to have our kids get up there and paint the ceremonial painting. That'll be a new tradition for us.
Wow. How many of those do you have exactly in bi-districts?
I don't
A
know.
lot.
It's quite a few.
A
I don't know.
lot.
To be honest, I don't know. I mean, that's a trick question there. I don't know.
But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of history on that board, Coach. What years obviously stand out to you? I know those regional quarter years.
Yeah, I would think there's two big years. I mean, we were there quite often, but I think the 90 group and the 94 group, we were in the quarterfinals in 1990, and then we were in the semifinals in 94. Yeah. So, 94, we were one game away from winning the state championship.
And you maybe can rekindle that for the fans that don't know. Maybe what were some things that stood out that year?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I remember, and some of the people keep asking me, because we have a wall of fame where we put up all the winning teams, and so the kids have to go past there, and they got to see their Theo looking at them as they walk out. So I mean, there's a little motivation. There's a historical motivation. So we're trying to bring all that back, trying to do the wall of fame. But yeah, the war stories, as far as like playing Sinton and Cuero. Cuero was ranked number 1 in the state and number 8 in the nation.
Wow.
So, just to get past those guys, it was, the year before we had lost to them 63-8. But, we're all banged up. They were a junior ball club, and so were we. So that was a big one. And they always bring back the Cuero game and obviously the Sealy game. And so those are the things that we always try to take little bits and pieces. Like, for example, I think this winning the bi-district championship this year is one of the very few teams that didn't win the district championship but won a bi-district. I think only 2 in the history. So we made history with this little group that we have.
Definitely. And you guys, moving forward, you got your career win 200 earlier this year. So congratulations to that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Obviously, you've been there, you've done that, but what does 200 mean to you?
Well, I guess it means that I'm old. I've been in it a long time. But, I think about how that happened. Number one, I lost my mom and dad this year. And so I think about all the 200 means more like who supported me. Mom and dad were always there. All the coaches that have worked at different stops, all the seniors that have graduated and gone to college, and, you have to sacrifice to be able to win 200. I mean, they're the ones that are doing it. And so, yeah, it's very important to kind of reflect and see, who got you there, and support. The support is the biggest factor there, and that's what 200 means to me.
I'm going to rattle your brain here just a little bit, but do you remember career win number 1?
Career number 1, I think that was against Zapata in 1990. Yeah.
1990.
Yeah.
With the Tarpons.
Yes,
So
sir.
is it so poetic that you came full circle, that you career win number 1 with PI,
Yeah.
200
Yes,
with
sir.
the Tarpons?
Yes, sir. It's incredible. Yeah.
So coming into this year, there was a big question mark on you guys. With one game last year with COVID, we had a couple of schools that didn't play football at all, and said, well, we know PI is bringing this back, they're bringing that back, and I know we had talked week 1. Is this your debut kind of coming back more or less? He said, no, well, last year we had a home game, so it was a semi-homecoming.
Yeah, spring training.
Spring training. We'll call it a spring training
yeah,
game. But you guys host St. Joe week 1, and you guys went pedal to the metal. And I thought that was a really good tone setter for you guys. And then I told Tino and I told everyone, I said, hey, PI looks like they're in week 6 or 7 with that performance.
Yeah, just to, I guess to kind of recap a little bit, we struggle quite a bit, and I think all the small schools in the valley are still struggling. Coming out of the pandemic, and we started spring ball April 1st, and we had 12 kids. You can win games, but you got to have players.
Right.
You got to have players, and you got to have coaches, and we didn't have. We had coaches, and our coaching staff outnumbered the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked all summer trying to look for kids, and consequently, in August we started. August 3rd, we had 15. So that to win a game, the first game, that was critical, but the thing was that we really didn't have a large group of backups, what we're used to doing. And coming from a 6A, we tend to two platoon. We have 70 kids. You have 35 on offense, 35 on defense, and then we pick and choose when we're going to do our kicking game. That didn't happen here. Here we had everybody's playing offense, everybody's playing defense, and everybody's playing kicking game.
Yep. And
we also had another system that we put in, which was, I thought our coaches did a genius thing here. They had another system. If you're starting at fullback and strong safety, you got to back up at an outside linebacker because we didn't have a backup there. So, and because we put that system in, that happened to win us the last game of the year, the second last game against West Coast, because we had 3 or 4 kids go down, and we just. I think everybody in the 4As were like one player away from disaster, and but we had the backups and we had already trained them. It just so happens that it was at the end of the year, and we lost 3 or 4 against the West Oso game, and we beat them.
And you guys were in a tough district. You had West Oso, you had Robstown, you had Rockport, you had Sinton.
Yeah. Those opportunities are very challenging, mainly because they got great programs and they never stop playing. Right. They never stopped coaching. They had junior high, they had high school. They just kept playing and playing and playing. The other factor, and I have to give credit to my coaches and my kids again, because the deck's been stacked against them. It's almost been like a Cinderella year, because these kids, we had to travel. We had 6 road games, and 4 of them were to Corpus. It's 2.5 hours. 3.5 hours. Like we go to Rockport, it's 3.5 hours. And then we played another non-conference game, Aransas. That was another 2.5. And then we played at Carrizo. That was another one. And then this week another one. We're traveling more than Dallas Cowboys. And so, how do you win? And so that was one of our challenges, one of our strategic things that we talked about with the coaches. I said, guys, we got 6 road games. It's virtually impossible to win all 6. So you got to be realistic. I said, well, if we can set a reasonable goal and win 3, win 50% of the road games, and then win all the home games, and try to beat all the Valley teams, which is tough because Rio Hondo and Raymondville are playoff teams. If we thought that we can make the playoffs. And so you check the box on almost all that. We did it exactly like that. And we talked about that in June and July. So, but these kids have overachieved, and the coaches have, I think are out coaching people. And I think the fact that we just keep, raising the level, our bar, and, the schedule was stacked against us. You're playing in a real tough, like Sinton. They were in the 3rd and 4th round last year with a junior ball club. They're seniors now. So, and they're undefeated. They're 11-0. So, God bless anybody that lines up against them. That might be us next week, So it's tough. It's, those are things that we want to aspire to do. The one thing I tell the kids all the time, you got to compete. Never give up. I don't care what the score is. You get a little bit better every week, and that's what we've done. We've tried to get a little bit better every week. And again, our seniors, Gilbert Medina, Darren Valdez, Fernando Romero, Jaciel Aguilera, Christian Aguilera, Caden Martinez, our defensive. Some of those guys are star basketball players that just came out to help us, and now they're starting. Yeah. So it's a senior group. It's a senior group that's really helping us.
When was it this year that you guys maybe got a signature win, and the kids have said, "Hey, we can do this, and we are on that Cinderella type run"?
Yeah, I really think, Kevin. I think it was really more like. We always put a lot of emphasis on the first district game, the Robstown game. We won that one. And then I think, to make the long story short, I think really probably like the West Oso game was You know, that got us 4 wins in district and pretty much locked it in. And I think that kind of helped us a lot going into Carrizo.
Right.
But I also will tell you this, that the following week, we had to travel all the way to Rockport, 3.5 hours. So we played all our starters, scored 34 points against that group. They're 9-1. And we pulled all our starters at halftime. Because if we beat them, we don't get anything out. The seeding's the seeding. It's already, we're going to play Carrizo. So we pulled them out, and we scored more touchdowns or more points against Rockport than anybody this year. So I kind of felt like after the West Oso, we got a little bit better. And now against Carrizo, we got a little bit better.
Right.
It's kind of like we're starting to peak now at the right.
Yeah,
We're playing good football at the very end. The
right
West
time.
Oso, the Rockport, and the Carrizo.
Right, and then Carrizo Springs, coach was 10-0.
Yes.
Going into that matchup, and people said, well, PI is the 4th seed. I said, yeah, but they're a very good 4th seed. Look who they played. Look at that district.
Yeah, I think you're right, Kevin. I think that our district made us tougher than most people, and so we just had the 2 variables that we had to overcome was the travel and the injuries, and we survived the injuries, and we didn't do very very well on the travel. Now every week's. You know, I'm taking this variable, moving it over here. We're not doing this. We're doing this. So we had to come out off the bus and with some energy and win the first quarter. And we hadn't done that we didn't do it against Sinton. We didn't do it against Ingleside. And so when we played Rockport, that was the experiment. I mean, we had to change some things, and we had a lot of energy. We scored 21 points in the first half, and then I think. You know, we kept them in there for another quarter. I mean, I think they kept their first ones. Our second bunch scored a touchdown or 2. So we scored twice with our second bunch against their number 1s. They finally put in their number 2s like in the beginning of the 4th quarter. But so that was really, you know, inspiring. We used everything we could to try to get us to get better.
And then now you guys are back in the area around, and a team that we know well is Geronimo Navarro. We've seen them in the past play Valley teams.
Sure.
Slot T, Battle of the Slot T's.
Right.
So, hey, this could be the quickest game on the schedule.
Yeah, I told everybody we might be back by 8 o'clock on the bus going home.
It could be a really quick one, but you know the Slot T Mafia, as like people like to call it, with what you guys like to run. So. What stands out to you? You know, I know every year Navarro's in the mix, and you guys will play him. Raymondville played him. Rio Hondo's played him.
Yeah. Well, I think that they have a tradition of running the football just like we do. They've been at it, you know, a little longer than we have. Like our kids just started, you know, last year, and then this year's been 10, 11 games. But they've been doing it since junior high, so they got a little bit of an edge on us. But you know, you just never can count out the Tarpons. I mean, we got some things that they've never seen, and I think it's going to be a good little matchup. And they're very physical, and so are we, you know. So, I mean, we showed that against Carrizo Springs. I think Carrizo was a little shocked that we came out and we were very physical. They had 3 wideouts that were probably as good as anybody in the Valley, and but nobody ever jammed them. Nobody ever got in their face, so we jammed them. And then we blitzed the quarterback, and you know we really pretty should have shut them out. I mean, they had a little we slipped, and the guy threw one, and they scored. But yeah, I think for the most part it's going to be a very evenly. I think we're even. You know, I think playing Sinton and Rockport really has prepared us for this game. The travel, you know, that's always the 12th man for whoever has to travel the furthest. So, you know.
Well, you guys have a good track record of fans traveling with you.
Yes.
I remember back when jockey football was there. I was very young in my career, and I believe y'all played, I think it was Orange Grove at Cabinets.
Sure.
And I remember Joe Bowling telling me, like, if you ever, if it's going to have a call of your life, let tonight be the night. Because he says you are going to see an onslaught of Tarpon fans.
Right.
And I said, well, like, how many people are even in Port Isabel?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't wrong. It just floods and floods and floods of people came in. I was like, wow. I was like, he wasn't kidding. Like, it just amazed me on just how many people traveled to watch Port Isabel, how many people tune in to listen to Port Isabel. So
I want to agree, but I think it's a new age. You know, I think with live streaming, it's kind of hurt us a little bit. We had a good crowd. Carrizo supported us at the stadium. So I'm really hoping the fans come out and watch something magical. You know, I really think our kids deserve a packed house, and we've got tremendous support. You know, not only from our superintendent, our board. I think I work with two of the best principals. You know, Miss Muñiz. Well, she knows you.
Yes.
To me, that's probably the best principal I've ever worked with, and she doesn't get enough credit. And then our junior high principal, Miss Gonzalez, she's all in for the Tarpers. You cut her, she bleeds blue. But yeah, you really can't have a winning, successful program without top administrators. And so our board and our coaches, you know, they're top notch, man. They really have done a good job. So I'm hoping that more than anything else, I'm hoping that the fans go out and support our kids.
Coach, before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to give to any of your coaching staff, administration?
Well, one of the things that you know, I've often said that you have to have players, and they got to make plays. Players have to make plays, but you also have to have coaches. And so we have I think two or three three assistants that I think can be head coaches down the road, and that's John Mark Alvillo, our offensive line coach, Juan Torres, who I think offense coordinator, and Coach Barbarena, I think our defense coordinator. And then we got some young guys that I call them ladies in waiting. You know, they're going to be coordinators real quick.
Yep.
And so Kyle DeMoss could be an offensive coordinator, and Gilbert Rodriguez is our head basketball coach. He's probably the best secondary coach I've ever worked with, and he shut them down last year. And they threw over 1,000, 2,000 yards. I mean, they had receivers that had 1,000 yards receiving, and he shut them down.
Coach, you got some hardware there. What you got on your?
Oh, that is.
Why don't you show it to the
yes,
camera
that
there.
was in '94. I was honored as the coach of the year for the whole state of Texas in 3A.
Good deal.
The coach of the year, yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, you got to have players. You got to have coaches.
You got to have players. Definitely.
Yes,
Coach, good luck this
Yes, sir.
weekend when
Yes,
you
sir.
take on Navarro.
Yes, sir.
We wish you guys the best. Hopefully the Harper fans will show up. I think they will.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's mid-November.
Yeah, they should be there, but live streaming, man. Live streaming is where it's at.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hooking up with the PI swag there. I know you
yeah.
had to,
I hope
take
you.
a little
I
jab
hope you, I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it.
I love the RGV.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I love everybody.
Yes, sir.
So, Coach, thanks for joining us. Tony
Thank
V.
you. Thank you, sir.
On the other side of the break, we're going to be joined by Coach Brian Molina of Harlingen South. You're watching Real Sports Live.
I love what I do. I really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children.
One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on Jackson at First and Jackson in Harlingen.
Uniforms, etc., you're going to find the opportunity to purchase the best high-quality scrubs. Soon after I learned about how the EDC was helping out the community, and so I did meet with Ms. Castillo. She made it very easy, very friendly, and she walked me every step of the way. I couldn't have done it without their help.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district focusing on quality and rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. A district dedicated to preparing our youth for the future. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower all students to reach their full potential and become leaders of the highest moral character. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
We are Edinburgh Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
There is a feeling you get when you walk onto a campus.
A sense of love, compassion, and dedication.
An environment that inspires each of our HCISD family members
to do their best and to be their best.
We ground our education on strong character, and together, we will always persist towards the future.
We are a district of choice.
A district of innovation.
And a district of excellence.
We are HCISD.
We are Santa Rosa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Josh Moody and Coach Rolly Gonzalez of Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
We're the Ray Texans, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Service is attitude. How far are we willing to go to service our community, our dealership here at Psja, and you? Sky's the limit.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
We're the Harlingen South Lady Hawks, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Hawks up!
I love what I do. I really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children.
One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
And he throws it down. Hey! See you later, touchdown.
Here at Texas A&M University, Kingsville, we are a family. We support each other through thick and thin. We work together, grow together, excel together. We inspire each other to become the great minds of the future. We are here to ensure you succeed. Apply today to get started. This is your time.
We are the Harlingen Lady Cardinals, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
We're the Lady Cougars, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Welcome back. We're here at Luke Furrier Motors in Brownsville, Texas. As always, as promised, Coach Brian Molina, it's not just going to be a football show, but we're going to be doing some basketball as well. So Coach Brian Molina, my good buddy here, he is our first basketball coach that we have on this year as we start to make the transition into basketball season. So Coach Molina, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Kevin. Appreciate it.
So, Coach, we're very, very early in the basketball season for you guys. You guys are just 2 games in, but you guys go on the road at Vela, then you host Rowe. A good way to start your season against 2 very good teams.
Yeah, when I'm putting together a schedule, I try to get us ready for district is really what we do. Obviously, Vela's traditionally always very good, and so is Nikki Rowe. And I knew we were going to have our work cut out for us in both of those games. But I won't stray away from the formula. It's been successful, and it's been helping us get ready for district every year.
You guys, for you, coming from a basketball family, you're basketball 24/7. That night before the season starts, your regular season, are you like a kid on Christmas morning? Excited?
I can't, honestly, it's like I tell my boys, it's the guys, I can't sleep. I'm just, of course, riding the wave of volleyball playoffs and boys basketball. It's tough, and of course I call my dad and we start talking and stuff, and he's like, hey, you need to get to bed, you got to get up early. I said, Dad, I can't sleep. I already have my practices script out for like a week, and I'm just excited, ready to get started all the time.
So for you guys coming into a new year, last year, of course, was last year. It was very just, I don't want to say flukish, but just very odd because of all the protocols, only having 1 round of district, no tournaments. This year we get to have that. I'm not sure. Are you guys in the La Jolla tournament?
No, we're not in La Jolla.
Oh, but there's a La Jolla tournament this week. The Border Bash. We had Chick-fil-A last week. So it gets back to the tournaments and gets normalcy when it comes to having a season.
Exactly.
How important is it for you guys to actually have tournament play this year, and how big of a factor of it not having it last year?
Tournament play is huge. I mean, especially getting to see some of the players that what your starters are going to bring, but getting to see those role players and giving them opportunities to play a lot of games and to face a lot of teams that you're not normally going to see. When last year when they took away tournaments, we scheduled certain teams that we could play, but when you're in the tournament play, a lot of times they're bringing teams from out of town, or we're going out of town to get ready for hopefully what is the next rounds of playoffs. So tournament play is huge.
And, you guys, like I said, you guys played Roe last night and Villa on Saturday. And then what do you guys have next?
We have Mission on Friday, another tough team. So
Mission on Friday out of 31-6A. So, just looking at, like I said, we know it's very early, but just looking at the Valley as a whole, you guys are in 6A, 32-6A, and every year you and I have that talk, and it seems like it's just like a broken record, but it's true. Every year this district seems to be getting tougher and tougher. And then when we added the Westlicos in this last realignment, I know that's your guy, Gabe Valdez over there, and you guys have that history. But, just what are you looking at just right now as a whole as the Valley?
Valley basketball this year is going to be very competitive. Obviously, our district is tough with the teams that we have. Obviously you have Wesco is the defending district champion, Los Fresnos, who's always good, and I know Marco's got them going. Brownsville Hanna I think is going to be the surprise team, not to us, but to most teams. They returned a really good group back, and I know Coach does a good job over there with them. And then obviously you're going to have Harlingen High, who's always good. And hopefully we're in the mix. So our district is tough, but Valley basketball-wise, I think teams you need to look out for obviously is Brownsville Pace. They're returning all 5 guys, and they made a good playoff run from last year. I know they played well against Wesco last night, and Wesco was a tough team, and they played them really well. Obviously you have Mac High in the Elite 8, and they're returning a lot of players too. So we played Roe last night, and Roe was just big, long, athletic. Edinburgh Vela returns 13 guys from their team last year. Wow. And, it's like I told the boys today. I said, guys, understand we're playing teams with what we call street credit. We lost a tough one to Vela, had our chance there. And then Vela goes on the road and beats Laredo United last night. And Laredo United obviously is one of the powerhouses out of Laredo year in and year out. So I told the guys that those are good measuring sticks for us. Same thing with Nicky Rowe. I think that was a good measuring, a good test for us. I like to think that we're going to be we still have a high ceiling in order to get better. So I'm looking forward to the challenge.
The interesting thing is you bring up Brownsville Hanna because what was it, 2-3 years ago when they beat Los Fresnos, and that kind of threw some shockwaves in there. And I feel that Coach Lucio Fermin has always had them in the mix, and I think with Thurwell coming back for his final hoorah, so to speak, I think that just makes this district all that more competitive. And San Benito, I know they got a new coach down from Porter, but they were very young last year. So this year I'd expect them to take that next step.
I think San Benito's going to slip under the radar as well. They're going to be in the mix to compete. It's with our district, it's real simple. If you don't show up, you're going to be in trouble. I think anybody can beat anybody on any given night. Obviously, Hannah's proven that before. I think we've proven that before. All the top dogs have proven that before. So it's just one of those things that you better come prepared. That's why we play such a tough non-district schedule to put us in situations that are going to make us better.
Last night St. Joe got their season underway. And, it is what it is. Everyone wanted to see Jerry's debut in a Bloodhound uniform. That was the storyline. But then in came Jimmy Navarro, and just he went 4 for 4 from three-point land in the first quarter last night alone. He wound up with 32 points. I think he finished with 9 threes.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, whoa. I didn't see this kid do this last year. But if he can play like that, and then you have Jerry on the other side, and they have their bigs with Cinceneros and obviously Luigi Cristiano, a big kid inside. They went to the Elite 8 last year without Jerry.
Right.
And having arguably one of the better players in the Valley added to that team, how dangerous can they be?
They can be real dangerous. As soon as they added Jerry to that list, I saw them, instantaneously. They can compete for a state title and bring one here to the Rio Grande Valley. I'm looking forward to watching them play. I'm happy. We couldn't really match up our schedule to play. I think last year we played them because we didn't get to go to a tournament. This year just didn't work out. I want to play them again this year. I know he was trying to get us on a schedule as well, but we're in a tournament. Hopefully we'll cross paths there. But I'm really anxious to watch them play. I know anytime you add the 32-6A MVP to your team for the next 2 years, that's always got to be a good thing.
And Jimmy's a junior.
And that's right.
For St. Joe.
Yeah, they're still young.
He mentioned that last night. He said, I'm just a junior. I was like,
wow.
We're always in the middle with the Lucios.
Yes,
we have Sammy, you got Fermin, Alex at Los Fresnos, and of course Anissa.
And Anissa.
And Los Fresnos. And I went on the trip this past weekend with St. Joe, and I was telling Sammy, I always have fun talking about y'all's family because you need a Venn diagram to kind of figure out who's where and who's what.
Exactly.
So it's just a good, like I said, there's always a Lucio somewhere involved. But we're really excited to see what St. Joe is doing.
Yes.
Speaking of private schools, MMA. Your pops, the GOAT, the legend himself at Osmo Molina.
Yes.
He's still coaching at MMA?
He's still there. The real Coach Molina is still hasn't hung it up. He actually, I'm really proud, really happy. You know, Kevin, he's still been teaching at MMA. This year, he finally stepped away from teaching, but they did not want him to stop coaching, so they worked out a deal with him.
Good.
To be able to coach. I know he's really excited because a lot of those MMA football players, he's expecting to come out to play basketball. I know they're a pretty talented athletic group, and so he's really excited to see them, to see where they go. I know they scrimmaged against some of our guys the other day, and they looked really, really good, and so he's looking forward to a promising season.
And I know you're very close with your pops.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm fixing to call Coach Lucio later today because they're playing for a state championship, and that's a big deal.
Oh, that is.
You know, it's a pretty big deal. So just what is your pops? You know, what's the vibe there at MMA?
You know, they're all excited. Dad is, you know, he's always been a part of the football program. They've always accepted him, and he's been a big supporter of them. You know, it's funny. My assistant coach, Coach Bettis, and I were talking. You know, when you show up to MMA, you're walking into like legendary status with my dad, Coach Lucio, the Mortons, Larry Cruz is there now. I mean, all those guys are just, you know, they have so much knowledge and so many wins under their belt. It's almost intimidating to walk onto that campus.
And for your dad, you know, he coached you at Memorial. I remember you shared that picture. Was it 94?
Yeah,
McCallum,
93.
93,
yeah.
McCallum Memorial. So when Tony V was a PI, you were playing high school hoops at McCallum Memorial.
Yeah, sure was.
What's a memory you can share that stands out to you playing for your dad?
You know, there's one thing I admire about my father, and I tried to emulate this as much as I can. Being a coach's son is always tough, and yeah, he was harder harder on me than he was with most kids, obviously, because I'm his son. But he was always able to draw the line between being a father and being a coach. When we went home, it was always dad. You know, we didn't have to. If I wanted to watch film, I could watch film with him. But it was more of, you know, we really didn't talk too much basketball, which I appreciated. We talk a lot more basketball now, obviously, now that I'm coaching. But I mean, just the memories of making long playoff runs and him being right there next to me, and he could be the first one that I go to. Win or loss, he was always there supporting me, and I mean those are memories that I cherish. I will say this: I've never seen him throw anybody out of a practice except me. So, not because I acted like a knucklehead or anything like that. It's just high expectations, you know, and from him, and obviously my mom was at every game, and she would sit right next to the video camera and just be yelling at my dad to take me out of a game if I missed one shot. You know, it's just we joke about it now, but I'm like, Mom, you're really hard on me. And so it's always a fun conversation every weekend when we get together at the Molina house. So.
And it was your sister's birthday yesterday.
Yes, it was.
She picked up a win.
Yes, she did. She did. You know, I told her, I said, you know, I'm really proud of her. She's one of those. She loves where she's at. Nikki Rowe has really taken her in. She's blessed to be there. She's been a head coach before, and she's like, you know what, I really enjoy what I'm doing. She works with Coach Robles, who him and her work really, really well. They have a really, really good young group, obviously. I mean, because I think our girls are tough.
Yeah.
And they played really well against our girls, too, and they're going to have all those girls back next year. I mean, Rose's still young. And so she's doing her thing. She's leaving her stamp there. And you know, she's obviously was real quick to text me like, hey, don't hang your head. Your guys played well. They fought to the end. They did all kinds of stuff. And so we all have each other's back here in our thing. And I think it's neat. My parents have gotten to watch two of her games. Usually they get to come watch me because I'm right there.
Yep.
So those are all working out well.
Well, those are two birds with one stone last night for the Molina family.
It sure was.
You guys were busy all in one gym.
It did. It worked out really well.
So backtracking to your team this year, what can we expect? What can the people expect in 32-6A and the RGV expect from the Hawks in 2021-2022?
You know, going into this year, we're under the radar. If you're looking at, I mean, we don't really pay too much attention to paper rankings and stuff like that, especially in the preseason. But traditionally, we're always in the top 10. Traditionally, we're always at the top 1 or 2 in our district. This year, we're picked 4. I think even I saw one poll where we're 5. So those are all challenges. I like that. Everybody knew we were a senior ball club last year, but the kids that I have this year, they're fighters. I think they've proven that the last 2 games. I mean, we're still not 100%. As a matter of fact, we talked about the ceiling today. during our athletic period, and our ceiling is really, really high. We haven't even come close to touching how good we can possibly be. I think we're going to be a lot faster team. Last year we were big. This year we won't be quite as big, but I think we're going to be really, really fast, and we'll be able to shoot the ball. I mean, we struggled last night, which is unheard of pretty much, but I told the kids, I said we had good looks last night. We're gonna run. I think we're gonna be able to play a lot of people. We're gonna once we get Jeremiah back off of injury, I think we're gonna be pretty deep, and we're gonna try to put a lot of pressure on people.
My last question for you is, you mentioned that you have some football guys making the transition to basketball. You're not the only one that has that transition.
Right.
It's a real thing. Like when girls make the transition from volleyball to basketball, they say we got to find their basketball legs. The guys got to find their football legs. How long does that take, and what exactly is that, or does it depend on the athlete? Or
a lot of times it depends on the athlete, depends on where they were last year. Jeremiah, obviously I had him last year. Devin, unfortunately Devin and Jeremiah were two projected starters for me. Unfortunately, Devin got hurt in the Psja North football game, so he's out for the season. But Jeremiah will be in a boot for about a month. But those other football guys, it usually takes them a good 2 to 3 weeks, only because right now we're coming into the most important, the busiest time of basketball, which is tournament season. So right now we're facing a lot more games than we are practices. So the time to pay attention to detail and catch them up on a learning curve. My best coaches a lot of times are my senior basketball players who have been through the fire with me for 3 or 4 years, and it's really neat. They'll be off the side, and I see them talking to those young guys, to the football guys, trying to catch them up on things. But in the end, football players are athletes, and I think a lot of their athleticism just kind of takes over. I saw that last night. I apologized to Jaden Galindo and Nick Garcia. One practice, I was in a bad situation. I threw them in the game, not knowing anything. They went out there and they were athletes. And I said, guys, I know I put you in an unfortunate situation, but you handle yourself. So I'm really, really excited about giving them some practice time, a couple more games, definitely tournament season to get them involved more. And I think we should be clicking by the time district comes around.
Definitely, Coach. Before we let you go, any shout-outs to anyone you want to give?
Yeah, I'm blessed at Harlingen South. I think not only do I have great basketball players, I have a great booster club. I have great parents. And then it trickles over to having a great basketball staff. I'm just at the head of that, but I have a great assistant in Coach Bettis and quality assistants all the way down the list. But it's nice to have that new. I guess I don't want to say the new face of Harlingen South, but definitely the new vibe at Harlingen South with Coach Gonzalez. He's done a tremendous job. I mean, he came in, first thing he did was visit with me, him and Coach Woodall came in, kind of took us in, took all programs in, and he kind of set the tone this year already for the season. I was not shocked to see Harlingen South win a district title this year in football because they had a very, very good leader, and I think that comes from the leadership that he brings on. Of course, we have a tremendous principal in Mr. Reyes who is always supporting us. And that makes my job as a head basketball coach a lot easier when you have everybody pulling in the same direction and trying to promote success in all programs. And I think it all starts with our captain, our leader, and Coach Gonzalez, and it's trickling down to all programs.
Perfect. That's Coach Brian Molina of the Harlingen South Hawks. Let's hope that Mando Perez doesn't run for president of Mexico.
I'm trying to keep him with me.
Yeah, because I know Mando Perez, he's soon to become. Yeah, I always call him the unofficial president of Mexico.
Yes,
I know he's
he
up
definitely
there.
is.
Hopefully you don't lose him
He
anytime
definitely
soon
is,
in the
and
next election.
There's not too many quiet moments with him. He's talking all the time, and he's a social butterfly, which is great because him and I, we work well together.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Yeah.
Coach, we're gonna let you go. Thanks for joining us, and we're excited to see what you guys do this year, and we're excited to see 32-6A again, and then see what's going to come to the table.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I
Coach,
appreciate it.
Coach Brian Molina on the other side of the break. We'll talk more. You're watching Real Sports Live.
For your motors, we're moving forward. Same great service, same great people, same great cars and trucks, and these great white letters. Our vision is crystal clear. Look for your motors. We're on the move.
And he throws it down. Oh! See you later, touchdown.
A Piece of Cake by Ibarres in Harlingen is a sweet stop for cakes, cookies, and pastries. The
The best in town for specialty cakes made to order. Sweetbread, cookies, pies, or how about cupcakes? At a piece of cake by Ibarra's, try a Texas-style cinnamon roll, or how about some tamales? Wedding cakes, graduations, you dream it and they can make it. The best in town is a piece of cake by Ibarra's in Harlingen.
The Brownsville Independent School District continues to provide a safe environment for enriching education. From pre-K-3 to early college high school, the award-winning district has advanced its legacy in curriculum, athletics, and fine arts. Teachers are driving the frontier of technology, bringing industry to the classroom. On and off the field, Brownsville ISD students engage in the experiences that make them college and career ready. Brownsville Independent School District, the best choice.
We envision that San Perlita ISD will help our students acquire the necessary knowledge, communication, and problem-solving skills through a variety of educational and social experiences to become productive citizens in our global society. Be a part of the change to help create a community where we guide each other to our unlimited potential.
Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles, located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets. Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere that makes for the fun trip when stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
We're the Life for Cheerleaders and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Aquí, en la Universidad de Texas A&M Kingsville, somos una familia. Nosotros nos apoyamos. Trabajamos juntos. Crecemos juntos. Triunfamos juntos. Nos inspiramos los unos a los otros para convertirnos en las grandes mentes del futuro. Estamos aquí para asegurarnos que tú triunfes. Aplica hoy para empezar. Es tu momento.
Hi, I'm Rodo Rodriguez and I'm a partner with New York Life Insurance Company. For 170 years, New York Life has built a reputation for building some of the finest agents in the industry. I help to manage that process from day one. If you're looking to challenge yourself and build an insurance and financial service business, then I would like to show you how I can help.
We are the Harlingen Cardinals, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Whether you're visiting or vacationing at South Padre Island, be sure to book your place to stay with Island Services. Locally owned for over 40 years. Trusted, reliable. For condo and beach house rentals, call and visit the website today. Island Services.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you, Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito. This game is brought to you.
What's going on, guys? Kevin Auer here. Our last guest, Rudy Biturena, joining us here as we wrap up our show. Coach, we just started learning a lot about you here in the last 10 seconds. A lot of small ties. But first off, we're here at Luke Ferreira Motors here in Brownsville, Texas. Coach, Coach, I'll call you Coach. I'm used to calling people Coach on the show. What are some deals here that people can know about, or what do you guys have going on here?
So right now, what's really neat is I don't know if people are seeing what's happening, but they're starting to release our vehicles, man. Our vehicle builds from the GMC line, the Buick line, to the Cadillac line, and I'm excited, and I hope the customers as well are being as excited as we are. There's great incentives for the holidays coming up. For y'all who haven't been shopping for your wives, come visit us. Cadillac, we've got some XT4s coming in, some CT4s, a bunch of CT5s about to be shipped. So come take a peek at them, get ready for your wives, like I said, and your kids. As far as the Buick GMC line, same thing. We got a bunch of vehicles coming in. We've got, as a matter of fact, 2 trailers about to pull up within the next, say, 30, 45 minutes. So come look at the inventory, please.
Cool. So you mentioned that you're from PI. So
Tarpon, born and bred.
Yeah. So your guy, your former coach Tony V, was just here. I'm sure you had a good conversation with him.
Well, it was funny. One of y'all told me the other day, man, it's almost impossible to get him in. I said, well, you know what's funny? He called me, and he was asking me, hey, Rudy, you know anybody at the Brownsville Herald? And I'm with him. I remember growing up, none of this was advertised through internet. It was social media.
It was different.
It was all on paper, and we all would wake up Saturday morning to look at the stats and to look at the win and who's on the win column and who's the next team coming up. And he mentioned that to me. I said, hey, Coach, you know what, man? I got something better for you. I got our friends over at Real Sports, man. We're going to put you on live.
Yeah.
He said, really, you going to do it? I said, dude, be here Wednesday, and it's all about you. And let's do what we're supposed to do, push on the kids and rep our town. And he says, well, you know what, Rudy, can you get me on? I said, dude, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you all for
I
supporting us.
When he had got Career Win 200, I had invited him, but he wasn't able to make it because of the junior highs and he had other obligations. So I'm glad he was able to make it this time, and I'm glad you were able to kind of put it all together, because I've been wanting to have him on, because some people are like, hey, what about Tony V? What about Tony V? I say, well, I've tried, but he just wasn't available. But I'm glad now he was able to make it. And I've covered him, throughout my career when he was, he goes, his ring was from 94.
You saw that?
And I was like, Coach, I was 2 in 94. But I did get to cover him a lot when he was in Weslaco.
That's
and
right.
then when he went to PI.
That's
so
right.
A funny story with Tony V was that in between that time when he wasn't in Weslaco and we wasn't back in PI, I live in Edinburgh, and his son owns that dental office in Edinburgh.
Right.
So I'm driving down the street, and I see an older guy dressed like Tony V, right? Crossing the stop sign over to that dental office, and I'm driving, and I'm like, was that Tony V? I was like, that's not Tony V. What's he doing in Edinburgh, and what's he doing at a dental office? Like, that's not him. So later, I wound up talking. I said, were you in Edinburgh at a dental? He goes, yeah, that was me. I said, no wonder. I said, I just couldn't put it together. I didn't think what would you be doing at a dental office? But thank you for having him on.
No, it's our pleasure, man. And he came like a year after we were gone, but I had a bunch of my friends play for him, and I was there with him, man, the whole time. And obviously, the small towns like that, and just Valley teams.
Yeah.
You know what it's about here in the Valley, man. It's Friday Night Lights.
Mm-hmm. What years did you play for Tony?
So, no, he came a year after when I left. He was in there in the next year.
Oh, okay.
He was there in 91, 92, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
But what he did with our program, he really took off with it, man. And he knows what it is. He's a great leader, and it starts with the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And like our bosses here have always told us, from the general manager / owner to anybody who, even just the people who are washing the cars, man, it starts at the top, and we're all no different.
Mm-hmm.
The leader, bro, and that's what he is. He's a true leader, man. And so getting away from football a little bit, basketball season's coming up too, man.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that too.
Yeah.
Just a quick shout out to David Catu and the Falcons too, man.
Oh, yep.
I want to say a quick shout out to them. Catu's an awesome dude. He's a great leader, and I know he's going to do great. His kids are going to follow him because that's just who he is. So I wanted to send a shout out to him too.
Yeah, they had a shot for the district title 2 weeks ago.
They did.
But they wound up in whipping Mission. So they're by district champs.
Exactly.
They're playing Brennan, who they got.
And that's a tough task. But you know what? Just like I said it last week, I'm going to say it again this week. 1-4 or 4-1, I don't care. Because Port Isabel went in last week to play Carrizo Springs, and they were what? 1? And we were 4, right?
Yep.
1-4 or 4-1, what happened? PI took the win, right?
They were 10-0.
Exactly my point.
They were 10-0.
So I don't care if you're 10-0 or 6-4. Let's go. That's what it takes. Show up.
So we're in basketball season, like you said, and your kid, Biturena, is out there playing for BVM. I didn't make that connection. So her and Katie Esquivel and Coach.
Coach Torres, and then you got this young lady, Mariana, and Alexa Torres. Man, they got a solid squad. And again, it's no different from football to any sport you're going to play. It all just it starts at the top. And Coach Torres is a great guy, man, and I think they're going to do well this season. And I want to just a quick shout out to all the other high schools too, man. Yeah. Our daughter just played in a pretty good tournament up the valley, and they played against Weslaco in the finals, and they have a solid team.
Yeah.
The Panthers have a solid team, and there's this young lady, Morgan.
Yes.
She's just a solid player. All
Morgan
around.
Perales.
Yeah, and just if you can get inside of her, I'll shake your hand. And my daughter had a tough task, and the vets lost, but they lost on mistakes. Because honestly, my personal opinion, should have beat them by 10.
Hey, that's fair enough.
But take the win, take the loss, and regroup and learn from that. And they're going to do that.
Yeah, Coach Fino, Westlaco, they're loaded every year.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, I've always been a fan of Arnold Torres. I mean, he's such a good person. He's a likable guy, and I know when he first took over for Valentin a few years ago, the numbers went up. I mean, the program just, you know, there was like revived kind of sort of thing, and you know.
Now, for one, I'm not one to ever talk bad about people. It's just not right, you know. And Valentin did his job when he was.
Yeah,
he
did a great job with Jordan.
Right, with Jordan, right, and then some other girls before her. But when Torres took over, my niece played for her in the late '90s and early 2000s when he was at Pace. He's a leader, man. And one thing that I really like and respect about him is that he lets the kids have fun, man. You know, you got to let them have fun on the court. Let them play the game. Because obviously we're not the ones on the court.
Right.
You can lead them, but let them play. They're the ones that are going to gel together, man. And he's done a great job with the girls. So, God willing, everything's going to move forward the way it's supposed to. And again, shout out to all the girls, not just veterans, man. You got all the Brownsville schools in St. Joe and you know, you got Coach Moreno over at St. Joe. And then they've got a solid squad in the girls team. You know, you got the twins.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, Julie's daughters, and man, they're awesome. And Los Fresnos is another good, all the teams in the Valley, brother. Yeah. All of them. We just wish the best for them this season. And obviously I got to push for my daughter's team, right?
Yep.
The vets, man. Some Brownsville vets.
Yeah, BVM's always been fun to watch on the girls' side these last few years, definitely. And Los Fresnos. A lot of those volleyball girls, Saraí Jones, the Jones sisters, they're there. Olivia Parra, they're gonna be good. You know, Brownsville Hannah, you know, they were Luis. They were a young squad last year, and
they should be better this year. That's what I was telling a couple of other coaches earlier. I said, look, man, all you can do is grow from one year to another. Especially when I know we don't ever want to say, well, all my kids were freshmen. It's not. I'm not one to ever make excuses, and I've always told my daughters, don't ever make excuses, man. Excuses are like whatever you want to say. Everybody's got one, and I won't use the word. So basically, hey man, we're gonna embrace this. Whatever we got, maximize it, do the best with what we got, and then if it's not this year, it's gonna be next year. But there's always gonna be a next year.
Definitely. Rudy Biturena here joining us. We're gonna let you go. That way you can get back to work. But any final shout outs that you want to give?
Again, good luck, Coach V and Coach David Cantu and the rest of the football teams here up the valley. This weekend, Friday night and Saturday, if y'all got a Saturday game, good luck to all y'all, man. And we'll pray for you, your kids, and stay strong and nobody get hurt and have a successful weekend. And shout out to all the girls who'll be playing and boys in basketball tournaments this week coming up from Thursday through Saturday. And again, come visit us here at Luke Faria. Give us the opportunity. We're going to give you all the best service you've ever seen. Come see me. All right? Thank you all very much.
Sounds good. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up here at Luke Faria. You're watching Real Sports Live.
In Santa Rosa, a locally owned business providing a terrific atmosphere before or after the games and supporting athletes of all ages. When you're in Santa Rosa, be sure to stop by the concession stand and choose from the wide assortment of goodies. An advertising partner with Real Sports Live is the concession stand.
I love what I do. I really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children. One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on Jackson at First and Jackson in Harlingen.
Uniforms, etc., you're going to find the opportunity to purchase the best high-quality scrubs. Soon after I learned about how the EDC was helping out the community, and so I did meet with Ms. Castillo. She made it very easy, very friendly, and she walked me every step of the way. I couldn't have done it without their help.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district focusing on quality and rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. A district dedicated to preparing our youth for the future. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower all students to reach their full potential and become leaders of the highest moral character. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
All right, we're going to wrap things up here from Luke Furia Motors here in Brownsville, Texas. A shout out to Coach Tony Villarreal, Rudy Biturena from Luke Furia, and Brian Molina, the head coach of Harlingen South. Shout out to those guys for joining us here on a Wednesday afternoon. So we're just wrapping things up here. What's to come on Real Sports Live? Starting tomorrow, we're going to have coverage at the McAllen tournament for the girls basketball, the La Jolla tournament on the boys side, and then the San Perlita tournament as well. And then as right now, from what I understand, I will be making the trip up to Cedar Park tomorrow for the MMA state championship game, and then sliding over to San Antonio for the Mission Vets game. That's Friday night. So, and then we'll roll into Friday, Saturday on the basketball side of things. We'll pick up coverage from the pool play and then into championship Saturday at all three sites. And then also we will have the Vela football game on an audio broadcast only. That's Saturday at 2 at Richard Flores Stadium. So that plus everything else going on with the championship Saturday at La Jolla, San Perlita, and McAllen. So just if you're ready for basketball, well, we're going to have plenty of basketball for you in these upcoming days. So just be sure to stay tuned to Real Sports Live on our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube, give us a follow on Twitter, and like us on Instagram as we get set for a very busy 3 days with some coverage at 3 different tournaments. So on behalf of myself, Ruben, Rudy, and everyone here at Real Sports Live and Luke Furia Motors saying so long for now.